Hey everyone, it's Trevor here. I'm making a new update. I was going to update, I told you on Tuesday when I had my appointment with the orthodontist and the oral surgeon, but I didn't get around to doing it, so I am doing it now. I got home late that Tuesday night because I had one heck of a day. First, I went to the oral surgeon. He removed all the sutures that were along this whole top part of my mouth, which feels incredibly good to have those out. They were seemed to be real tight when I yawned or smiled. It hurt. He was very pleasantly surprised and excited about not only how much movement I've had, but also the quality of the movement. Both sides are moving equally out. I'll go ahead and show you my gap so far. You can see it. I can easily fit my pinky in between, and I think I'll go probably to the point where I can fit my thumb up there. After I finished with the orthodontist or the oral surgeon, I went over to the orthodontist. I was excited about that because also very pleased and excited with how much movement and then also how well it's moving. Um, and then I found out that the appliance I had in my mouth that I turned um, had maxed out. I was about a millimeter away. And being that I'm 2 hours away from the orthodontist, we decided to, right then, because I still needed more expansion. It was a 12 millimeter appliance, and I was at about 10 and a half or so. And so we decided at that point, since I needed more expansion than that we would remove my appliance and he would make me another one while I waited there and put that one in. Well, that started quite painful, probably the most pain I've ever had in my life. Painful experience. That was really just no way around it. I mean, I needed a second appliance, bottom line, and I needed more expansion than that appliance was going to give me. So we go in, and I'll tell you quickly how it happened. But first, they needed to remove my appliance that I had been turning. And at first, he just tried to pull, and it was just way too much pressure because my bone is still cut from here to here. I mean, all the way across and then down the middle. And so he decided to cut these bands. I have bands around my teeth. There's one here, on the back, here, and on the back. And so he cuts one, cut two. Everything was going great. Cut three, cut to the fourth one back here. And when he cut that one, it was like my jaw was spring loaded. That appliance came shooting out of my mouth, and my teeth fell like this. And this gap, which at the time was about this size, maybe a tiny bit smaller, fell to about half of what it is now. Extremely painful. Couldn't, and he quickly picked up the appliance off the floor, put in this side, and then he had to physically put his pinky in and pull my teeth out to put the other side of the appliance in. Very painful. I was just dripping in sweat, kicking my feet. I mean, I've never had so much pain in my life. And then, so the process went, I had it in there, and it kept wanting to pop out because my teeth were trying to push it out. So I had to sit there and hold it into the roof of my mouth. And then he needed to find out what size of bands to use. And so, again, we had to take it out, let the jaw kind of fall, and then he measured the 4 teeth for those bands. They have to be the right size because it has to stay cemented in there I'm going to have it in there for another 4.5 months. But anyway, the whole time he's pressing, it's just painful, painful, painful. Did that as quick as possible, put the appliance back in. So I was sitting there, and then the next step was to make molds of my teeth so that he could make an appliance that would fit. So once again, pulled it out, the jaw kind of drops, and by this point, I mean, when I got up to walk to the room where they make the molds, I was so lightheaded I almost had to be physically helped over there. I was just pale. It was just very, very painful. So we walk over to that room. They mix up the purple goop stuff that they put in the tray to make the mold. They have to kind of push my jaw out as they put that in there. And then the next problem we run into is that purple tray, that tray of the stuff, after it sets up, it's suctioned to the roof of my mouth and around my teeth. And so they have to try to pry that out. Meanwhile, I mean, doing that, you're pulling on my jaw that's technically broken. Very, very painful. The girl was trying to do it. I happened to call the orthodontist in, and he was able to get it out. By that point, my gap had dropped significantly. It was probably a fourth of what it is right now. And so the only way to get that appliance back in, because it was such pressure there, they had to back the screw off almost down to where I started from, put it in, and then every 10 or 15 minutes we would slowly start cranking it, try to get back to where I was, because we don't want to lose any of that expansion. So essentially my jaw collapsed. We finally got it close to where I was, and then I had to just wait and keep pushing that appliance up, the old one, because the bands were cut at this point. We had to push it up. I had to keep pushing it with my thumb in my mouth. I waited there probably close to 3 hours, 2.5 hours, while he made the new appliance. Now, when he started the procedure, I had told him the one thing that I was worried about was I didn't want to have to use what they call a thumper. And a thumper is a piece of metal that has little forks on the end. And they put those two little forks over the edge of these metal bands, because the bands have to fit tight on your teeth so that the cement will hold them there for the time you need it. And then they have this thing, and they pull it back, and they let it go, and it thumps them, and it pushes those on there. And I remember getting my first appliance in, and I hadn't even had the surgery yet, and that was very painful. I mean, it felt like it was just smacking my teeth. So I told him before he even started that I didn't want to use that thumper, and he said, I'll try not to. So he's trying to get this appliance in, he's taking it out a few times, and my jaws, I mean, my front teeth, the points of them are almost touching because they're kind of collapsed this way. And it came down to where he says, I just have to use that thumper. And I was just, I mean, there were a few times I reached up and actually physically grabbed his hands and just said, just give me a second, wait. Kicking my feet around, it was just very painful, but he went to each tooth and about 3 or 4 smacks on each one and just hitting that. So we ended up getting the appliance on, cemented it, everything was good. Once that was in, I actually felt 1,000 times better because of the way the new appliance is that, I mean, the way any appliance is, it holds those jaw pieces stable, and it felt so much better. Both the orthodontist and the oral surgeon have been doing this for years. The orthodontist has been doing it for 20 years. This is the biggest expansion mine is that they've ever done, either one of them. And the orthodontist has never made a second appliance. He said he's always gotten enough expansion out of one. But my top jaw was just so narrow that I needed that much expansion. And so he told me before he had taken it out that he was kind of excited to be able to say he did it. But when I left, he said he probably would never try that again, and that he would tell him that it's not possible. So I was kind of the guinea pig on it. The new appliance, I like it better. The other one he had sent off to have made, and this one he made himself. It's just a different turning mechanism up there. Not near as rough on my tongue. Doesn't hurt at all. Before, my tongue was always sore if I talked a lot. This one, I can't hardly even feel it up there. Also, the other one sat back farther toward my throat, and it was harder to talk. This one sits farther forward, and I find it easier to talk. And this one, like I said, a lot of people don't have their expansion appliance in there. As long as I'm going to leave mine, It's when I went to the oral surgeon, he took X-rays, and it's crazy to see on my X-rays this wide from here to the bridge of my nose. There's an empty space. There's just no bone there, and I'm gonna go out. This is about 10 and a half, maybe. I don't know if I'm quite 11 yet, but 10 and a half millimeters, and I have to go out to at least 15, and then he's gonna check me again. So half of this again, so probably right around 3/4 inch, and then we'll check, and hopefully that'll be enough. If you can kind of see in the back, I am getting quite a bit of expansion. My teeth almost are lined up there, and he wants to go a little bit over because he always relapses a little bit. On this side, I can't fit my teeth together, they just don't line up, but pretty close to the same, and that one was over a full tooth width inside of my bottom teeth. So this appliance, we're going to leave it April 28th. I see him. Hopefully I'll be fully expanded. And then he said he's going to err on the side of caution. We'll probably leave it in 4 months from that point. So it'll be probably around the 1st of September when I can finally get it out and get braces put on. And he might put braces on earlier. He said he could, but he just wouldn't put any pressure on them until then. But if I wanted them just for looks, and people would understand more what I'm going through, that maybe not ask so many questions, that he might do that if I wanted to. So I'll see about that. I like this appliance much better. You can get a look at it. Probably looks the same as the other one, but it just sits farther forward and it's not as rough on my tongue. My bruising is just about gone. I'm hoping by Monday that's pretty much gone. The swelling, most people probably don't notice by looking at me, but I still have a little bit right through here. I can feel it, but it doesn't that noticeable. So I'm assuming that'll just go away with time. Other than that, everything's going great. I was glad to have the switching of getting a new appliance, that part of it over with. Again, here's my gap. And I'm beyond worrying about what people think about me. I'm already married. I have 6 kids. I've got my job, so I don't really care. I just make jokes about it myself. I've kind of stopped telling the kids at school that I didn't lose a tooth because they just don't believe me. So I just pretty much told them, yeah, I lost a tooth, but I'll get it fixed. Because they just said, I can see it, it's gone. I was like, no, that's my other front tooth. 1, 2. But they don't get it, they're too little. So anyway, still positive, a little bit of pain. And lately, when I turn, it only hurts for just a few minutes. Not bad. I'll turn it twice a day still until Saturday night. And then starting Sunday, I'll just turn it once a day until I see him. And then hopefully on the 28th, I'm done. But we'll see what he says when he sees me. I imagine if I'm not, I'll just have a couple more turns after that. But I'm assuming I'll be done. So still positive experience. People sometimes ask to compare it to wisdom teeth. I personally had a lot more pain, and I mean everybody's wisdom teeth are different. More pain and a longer recovery. And I would do this over wisdom teeth if I had to choose one, if I was a glutton for punishment or something. But if I had to do one or the other again, it would be this. Wisdom teeth was terrible for me. But I'm eating a lot better. I can pretty much eat most things as long as I cut it small. And a lot of it I might not chew it up completely because my teeth just don't line up to chew. And I end up just swallowing it whole probably. So I will keep updating and we'll see how the process goes. We'll talk to you later.